Well, how do you do, buckaroos? So I'd try some Evan Williams. I actually haven't had this in probably, good golly, at least 2 decades. It's been a while, man. So here's what intrigued me to try. So I've got a Facebook with a friend, Jeff Lyons, drinking whiskey on Facebook. So anyways, someone posted on there he was slumming it tonight with some Evan Williams, and I replied, well, I don't know if Evan Williams is slumming it. You know, if you're drinking Kessler or 10 High or Beam 8 Star, that'd be slumming it, man. So anyways, but it did prompt me to want to try it again. It is an 86 proof bourbon. Evan Williams set up his distillery on the banks of the Ohio River in 1783. Is historically recognized as Kentucky's first distiller of bourbon. This special bourbon is a genuine sour mash that honors his pioneering heritage. So I am going to pour a shot and a half in my Jameson glass here to go neat. I've got a different Jameson glass that I'm going to pour. I'm sorry, to pour that one on the rocks, to pour that one neat. I think I did get something backwards. So anyways, I'm going to leave this one neat. I'm going to have this one on the rocks. I thought having the rounder mouth is why I chose to go with this glass. Shot glass, as it were. They're both shot and a half glasses. They tell you on their website that the nose is subtle or soft or light. They look for notes of oak, vanilla, and flavors of oak, vanilla, brown sugar. Oddly enough, the nose is subtle on the rocks version. That a little bit of meltage really helps bring it out quite a bit. But yeah, I mean, you get some oak. You certainly get some vanilla. You might get a hint of caramel. I'm also getting a hint of cinnamon spice. Flavors, wow, a lot of cinnamon spice, especially on the back end. Some vanilla, some caramel, some brown sugar. Gonna let the neat sit and concentrate on the rocks here for a second. Oh, biscuits, that's good. You know what? This is $10.99 a bottle, right? So that might imply to some that it is a rot gut whiskey. But it isn't really, to be honest with you. I don't know that other whiskeys that are costing twice as much can claim to be better quality. They do say on their website that it's aged longer than required for bourbon. But they don't say a specific age. So what that tells me is it's probably somewhere between a 3 to 4 year old bourbon. If it was a 4-year-old bourbon, trust me, they would say it is a 4-year-old, because that's how shit works. They're going to brag if it was an actual 4-year-old. They would tell you it was a 4-year-old. So I'm guessing it's probably somewhere between 3 to 4. It's longer than you need to age it, so which is 2, but I'm guessing this is probably somewhere between 3 and 4. Because it's not like some of those others I mentioned. Old Crow's another one, you know. It's one of those things, you can put lipstick on a pig, it's still pig. You can dress it up any way you want to. Oh. So trying to relax on this Friday. It's been a long work week, man. It was. You know, I didn't work any hours, longer hours than usual, but I had to do a little more physical labor than typical. That takes it out of an old fat man. Didn't necessarily mind. It was kind of fun to do, but wow, I'm hurting. So on the rocks, the sugars come out more. They're more distinct. I'm getting a lot of the brown sugar and some honey notes. I am feeling some vanilla, a nice portion of oak, and then on the back end some cinnamon. for the neat version. Oh, nice. Oh, wow. You know what? At $10.99 bourbon, you might expect it to be harsh, but I'm not finding a hard time drinking this. $10.99. Wow. Again, I'm going to take another drink and I'll tell you some flavors here. The sugars come out more as you get some water in there. If I was to drop maybe just about a half a capful of a bottle of water into this, it would really bring out some flavors and some aromas, because the aromas are light. But with what I've got, the sugars come out more on the rocks. But you do feel them here. You do feel a little bit of vanilla. Certainly some oak, but I gotta tell you, I'm getting a lot of cinnamon, which they don't mention on their website. They tell you aromas and flavors. They don't mention any spice. I'm getting a lot of spice, especially on the back end of this. A cinnamon-like spice, which I don't know what white oak they're using. Bourbon barrels typically use white oak, but I know for a fact that Missouri white oak tends to give you a lot of cinnamon. If they're using Missouri white oak, that would explain why I'm getting so much cinnamon. Or maybe this batch happened to use that. I don't know. I'm just telling you, I'm getting a lot of damn cinnamon. Biscuits. So anyways, I'm probably not going to drink both these shots, because that's going to get me hammered, man. That's 3 ounces of whiskey. I'm an old fat guy. But I did want to drink. I wanted to do a comparison between rocks and neat. There's a lot of folks that think putting bourbon on the rocks is a sacrilege. You know, of course, there are people that will put it in Coke. Here's the thing. For me, at $10.99, if you want to put $10.99 in Coke, put $10.99 in Coke. But quality-wise, there are some non-bourbons, and I'm not going to mention any names, but I think you just figured out where I was going, that has a similar label that are about twice this price, that I don't think are that are of any better quality, to be honest with you. This whiskey, the other whiskey, isn't any more nuanced than this one. It doesn't have any more flavors to offer. The flavors are different. That other whiskey is very distinct, but I don't think it has any more quality than this one here at $10.99 a bottle. That's my particular opinion, but I know I'm right. I'm pretty fucking confident, man. Anyways. Oh, Lord Evers. I think a lot of people just buy certain products because they've been conditioned to buy them. They've been conditioned to think a certain way. I mean, I remember being told at a young age that this whiskey and this whiskey and this is better than this whiskey, this is better. You know, that's not necessarily true. You've got to taste them, you got to do your homework, and the things that you've heard may not always be true. I mean, Jack Daniels, excuse me while I scratch my nose, Jack Daniels at one point was a 90 proof whiskey. Then it became an 86 proof whiskey somewhere in the 80s. Then at some point it became an 80 proof. And Evan Williams still remains 86 proof. I don't think this is any, of course, Jack Daniels is not a bourbon. It is a Tennessee whiskey. But JD has changed over the years, man. It's not the same product that it once was, and I think it's getting by on reputation more so than quality, again, in my opinion. And there are some folks that want to insist Jack Daniels is bourbon. It is not. It's not bourbon. I don't care what the government classification is. It is not bourbon by anybody's standards. And here's how you prove that, okay? Don't take my word for it. Knock on the door of Jack Daniels. Ask them if their whiskey is bourbon. No, they'll tell you it's a Tennessee whiskey. So take that knowledge that you just acquired and then go to Bardstown, Kentucky. Walk into Jim Beam, Maker's Mark, Wild Turkey, and ask them, is Jack Daniels bourbon? All of those will tell you it is not. So just because you're some jackass that wants to insist it is bourbon because of a government classification doesn't make you right. In fact, you're an asshole for not paying attention to the facts. So there you go. Jack Daniels is not bourbon. Evan Williams, although sometimes compared to Jack Daniels, is not Jack Daniels, and quite frankly, at $10.99, this is a much better value. Buy what flavors you like, but you know, for $10.99, you cannot go wrong with this, in my particular opinion. And if you want to insult people, well, you know, you might be a fan of. I do tend to irritate people, man. I got something on the back of my glass. It's giving me the willies here for a second. That's okay. I get very OCD about certain things. It kind of bugs me, but then I get over it. So my wife just showed up, so I'm gonna wrap up this video. I am Ton to Beer Whisper, whispering some whiskey at the moment, and we'll talk to you later.